BMRforum.com and BMRodds.com. What is going on, boys? What is going on? Welcome back to episode number 77 of The Lobby. The man who finally cleaned up and is looking all right, Mr. Sam's in charge. What's up, Sammy?
What's going on, Bobby? Got to golf this morning, shot an 87, so pretty happy with that. Got rid of the Sammy stash last week. We got the goatee
Right.
going back. It's winter time, so as we're transitioning into the third summer in the Northeast to the second fall, then to the first winter, the third fall, the second winter. We gotta start getting the layers on there.
Yep.
Right. Are you responsible for cleaning the snow and the ice there at the lot when it
Oh
snows?
yeah, the Sammy famous lot
Yes.
videos.
Yes.
Actually, we had
I
a
brought
light
it up.
winter last year. I want to say
Yeah.
we only did lot work twice in reference to
Okay.
moving all the cars. But we'll see what happens this year.
All right. Last but certainly not least, Mr. Donnie Rightside. What's up, Donnie?
What's good, fellas? And you see under my name there, the Eagles 1-1. You've got to be kidding me blowing that game on
No.
Monday Night Football. Still has me peeved, but there's other teams to root for because you can gamble on those teams. So sometimes
Yes.
it does make it okay, even though I lost a lot of money because Saquon Barkley scored a touchdown, but then didn't score a touchdown. And I can go for days on this topic here, but hopefully we have some better topics.
Exactly. Well, Sammy, let's dive right into it with a little bit of baseball. What do you got this afternoon? And how's that JDS contest looking?
Yeah, the JDS contest, we're coming down to the end. We only got 2 weeks to go in reference to baseball. And it's a six-way battle. There's six fighting
Basically.
for four. Really, one person should not be betting anymore in this contest. Sunshine 11 has qualified 113 plays, technically has 12 more plays available, but is up by 5.5 units.
So there's no
Second
point. There's
place-
no point.
Yeah, as of right now, there's no point in playing. You're up by 5.5 units, so you can only do, you can only go, you can only lose, which is what Martin Hop did in fifth place.
Right.
17 units, now down to 10 units, now fighting for a chance to come back into the money. Empire Maker is chilling in third place, but no more plays left. And WW Ermeyer has 7 plays available, but sitting in second place and watching all the madness unfold. And then you got White Phil Ivy that still has 11 plays to go. So it's still a battle. Sunshine should do nothing for the next week and a half and get that $1,000 prize. And then we'll see what
Right.
happens for second through fourth. I also want to touch base a little bit on baseball, coming down to the end. You got 2 weeks to go, and typically now's the time where you have these huge wild card pushes for the AL and the NL, and it's not as much as a battle as it has been in years past. The top three, they might be battling between who's going to feed the top three, but the fourth place team in the AL is a game and a half back, with the fifth place team 3 games back. And then in the NL, it's 2 games back, the Braves from the Mets, and then another 6 games back from there. So, normally it's maybe 6 teams fighting for 3 spots or 4 teams fighting for 2 spots, but you might only have 4 teams fighting, maybe only 2 teams fighting for 1 spot in these battles. But in reference to tonight, I'm in the semifinals for fantasy baseball. I'm ironically playing my dad, so one of us will make the finals.
Really?
But
Oh, wow.
Fantasy baseball, I got a DJ Hertz pitching tonight for the Nats, so we're going to go with the under Nationals Mets under 7. Really, just we're rooting for a 5-inning, 2 earned, maybe 1 earned run for DJ Hertz, and then
Okay.
we'll let the closers fuck it up in the afternoon or in the later portion of the games. And of course, we got to go with the Yankees, West Coast over Seattle.
Of course
Short
you
price.
do. All righty, Sammy. Good luck with that, and thank you for the recap. Good luck to everybody in that JDS contest, and we'll see if Sunshine takes your advice and chills out the rest of the way. On to you, Donnie. What do you got for baseball?
Yeah, DJ Hurst probably a pretty good look tonight. He's been a very good pitcher over the past 60 days, so we'll continue to see if he helps Sammy out. But I'm going to go late night here in just a moment and go opposite of what Sammy was talking about here. But before we get there, Philadelphia Phillies and Milwaukee feels like a playoff game tonight. The Phillies won yesterday. I had the under in that game, which cashed in. I think the under comes in again as that price is listed at 7.5. I'm not sure they get 8 runs there. Aaron Nola got busted up in his last appearance. Freddie Peralta's got a good ERA over the past 60 days, but a higher xFIP number. I think the Phillies win this game, and this game stays under. Game number 2, Skubals on the mound for the Detroit Tigers taking on Kansas City. Marsh is a decent pitcher, but how about this? Detroit is now 1.5 games back out of the wild card race after beating Kansas City yesterday. They win again. They start to put Kansas City on the ropes, and they get a game closer to making the playoffs. They got one of the best pitchers in baseball on the mound, but that price is crashing. If you're a contrarian player, you're looking at Kansas City, minus 155 or so, down to minus 135. Doesn't make sense to me because I think Skubal's the better pitcher, but also you're taking a look at a team in Detroit where Marsh has struggled against left-handed batters. It's going to be a lot of left-handed batters in that Detroit lineup. I like Detroit tonight. I don't care about the market crashing. I'll lay that minus 134. Then late night tonight, I think Seattle's the better pitcher on the mound with Miller. I'm going to take that slight price at a plus 102, but also Nestor Cortez does struggle with right-handed batters. He's going to face 9 right-handed batters tonight from Seattle in that lineup. I think Seattle as a team total at 3.5 makes some sense, and also looking at that game to take them at a short price, plus 102 as we get close to the playoffs.
All righty, Donnie. Thank you, and good luck with all your action this upcoming evening. Yep. Sammy, let's jump into a little bit of NFL. Let's cover week 2 before we jump in to week 3. Starting off week number 2. How was it for you personally betting, and then how was it for your different contests?
Yeah, so betting-wise, I think I survived. It was a tough week, too. I did not survive the Eliminator Challenge. I don't think many people have survived. If you did, then congratulations. It's been tough so far. In my personal pool, there was 294 entries, and they're already down to 65. So, my brother is still in, so shout out to him, but not much for me. As far as the contest goes, I was middle of the road, 4-3. I scored like 16 points, but shout out to a couple guys that were 7-0. Tank 28, win. They were both 7-0.
Crazy. Good job.
So you're maximizing all your points, and then they're up on the rankings. Win right. Is leading in the standings. He's up by 7 points on Pie Mike. Curious is at 45 points. And then Donnie's sitting at 13th. I'm sitting 45 or 45th overall in those standings. And then in the bookmaker contest, Pornhub Casino and Win are tied at 43 points. And that's the quick 1-month contest. But for the year-long contest, you got you got Win at first place, 7 points clear on Pie Mike.
All righty, awesome. Thank you, Sam. I always have to chuckle when I hear that name, Pornhub Casino.
It's a good one.
But congratulations, guys, in our 20K NFL Pick'em. Let's run through those top 5 real quick. At number 5, going 6-1, Red the Tiger. Number 4, Pie Mike. Number 3, Mr. Donnie Right Side. Congratulations again on the board, Donnie. Getting yourself $130 in cold hard Bitcoin, going 6-1.
Nice.
Number 2, RW Debaco 6-1, and number 1, Labonte 7-0, picking up a cool $250. But Donnie, let's jump over to you for a little week 2 recap. How was it for you?
Gambling wise, it was very good because I'm not really a side better anymore, actually outside of these contests. But side wise, I did get burned on a couple plays. So I dropped from, I think, 3rd place or 2nd place overall down to 13th now. But still, again, you just want to stay in striking distance. You're going to have your ebbs and flows, ups and downs. This week, looking at the card, I think I'm probably going to be okay. But there were so many games last week. And I understand there's a lot of upsets. And the toughest time to bet is week 1 and week number 2. You know a lot about these teams now after week number 2, like the Saints. You got to be kidding me there. Dropping 40 back-to-back weeks, absolutely smoking one terrible opponent and one good opponent in the Dallas Cowboys. I was really impressed by that, but also the parity around this league here. And also the Kansas City Chiefs at 2-0 lose Isaiah Pacheco. Where does that find them for the rest of the season, where he's going to be down 8 weeks at this point? They don't look as explosive, get a little bit lucky in those first 2 games. So I'm impressed with the way the NFL looks because on a week-to-week basis, as Sammy points out, if you didn't get knocked out in Survivor, you were probably just like, let me just throw caution to the wind first 2 weeks, take a couple upsets, and made it through. And now you might have some smooth sailing. But we've had those massive upsets. We've seen this in the past. Last year it wasn't this way. A lot of people surviving Survivor over the first couple weeks. This year, not so much at this time. I love week 3. You know what these football teams are now, and you should be able to bet accordingly here, guys.
All righty. Awesome, Donnie. Thank you. And speaking of betting, guys, I don't know if you've been following the news at all, coming down the pipeline. I think it's really far-fetched. I don't think it's going to happen. I'd love to know the idiot who drew this up because I don't think it's going to gain any traction. But it's the Safe Betting Act that Congress is trying to pass here, guys. A couple quick bullet points from it. Then we'll go over to you, Sammy, for some thoughts on it. The main one, one of the main ones that stood out at me reading it, affordability checks affordability checks. They are going to be doing, looking into the finances of customers at the bill passes. They're going to be looking into finances of customers that place a wager of $1,000 or more. That is absolutely insane to me. A couple small bullet points between 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. There can be no gambling advertisements during live sporting events, and sportsbook operators are now going to be prohibited, if the bill passes, prohibited from using phrases like bonus bets or no sweat bets. I think it's a really far flung, harebrained idea, if you want my opinion. Sammy, let's go over to you. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, the NFL is making all of its money based off, being sponsored by DraftKings. Every single sport you watch is sponsored by DraftKings or any of these books and stuff like that.
Yep.
I watch tennis match and that's the commercial. You watch, even when you're watching hockey around the rink, it's advertised for, whatever the sports book is. So I don't think there's any way that this is ever going to pass. It was hard enough to get sports gambling in the States, and there's still like 10 to 15 states that don't even allow it yet. Now you're basically going to take that all away from you. That's not happening.
No, I agree. Donnie, your thoughts?
Maybe the stupidest bill I've heard in a long time, because let's be honest with ourselves. Then why don't we take all the food and alcohol commercials technically out too? Because they're not good for you. So you can't advertise alcohol, McDonald's, going out to eat or anything, because it could turn into obesity and certainly not a healthy lifestyle. Also,
or not to cut you off, or cigarettes for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think cigarettes are allowed anymore on like the advertising print, but I get the point. Like anything that could be detrimental to your lifestyle should not be advertised then. So how about this also? If we're going to pass this bill, you know what I want to attach it to? Since we're coming up on the election, how about no political ads? Nobody's allowed to see any political ads anymore unless they're at like 1 a.m. on an infomercial. You know why that's never going to happen? There's too much money involved. There is no way that even like the broadcast companies, NFL, they're going to allow and say, now hold on. We have massive revenue coming in from this thing. Same thing with the TV stations. We're just going to get rid of that. That can't happen. And also, another thing that it's the people that are out of touch, like the state senators. Like I live in New Jersey. Let's just say in New Jersey, legally, I want to bet on Seton Hall or St. Peter's if they make a run to the national championship game, or Rutgers football. I can't do it because supposedly I live an hour away from Rutgers. And if I put $100 bet in, I might be able to go up to campus and influence the game itself and buy off the point guard for $5. And maybe he won't want to actually play well that night. It's ridiculous. It's people that don't understand the business or the actual processes that are in place that are making the decisions. That's what pisses me off the most. Taking away, we're going to save everything. No, leave it alone. Like if you want to invest in the stock market, they knock on your door and say, I don't know if you can put that $500 down and try to get in. How about your 401k? They ever knock on your door and say, I can't believe you invested $400 in your 401k last month. You should be doing $55. Just stay out of our lives, government. That's all we ask. Just stay out.
Exactly. And, another crazy quote from it, from the article I was reading, not to ban gambling, but simply to take back control over an industry that is already out of bounds, and we need to address addiction of all kinds. Well, like Donnie's point there, address addiction of all kinds, alcohol, drugs. I mentioned cigarettes. I mean, we could have a whole topic on this, but it's wild to me. And, another reason, boys, to just bet offshore. You don't have to worry about any of this.
They're not messing with your bank account.
No.
You know what I mean? At that point, again, the whole point was, you get legalized gambling in the United States. Like, there's many options here. And you say, I wonder if that offshore market is going to die. This is why the offshore market will always be here, because the idiocy is here in the United States. It's just the way it's going to be.
Exactly. But speaking of that, guys, I want to see you both in some poker action. I want to see everybody on the forum in some poker action. Yeah. We got poker event number 2 coming up this Sunday. No registration code needed for this one. Just click on the link, join up, watch some football, have some drinks, and play some poker. Get your hands on some baller coins. But Sammy, let's go over to you. How was your college football weekend this past weekend? Did you play anything? And what do you got this upcoming weekend?
Yeah, I'm not doing great in college overall, but from a volume standpoint, I'm betting one game for every 3 games in the NFL. So it's definitely not what takes my
precedence. Yeah.
But I do have a few written down for this weekend. One game on Friday, Illinois plus 7.5 And then on Saturday, for not being a huge college football follower, I'm going to tend to follow the big games. You know what I mean? Where there's probably more money to be made on the smaller games because the sharper lines are on the games that are on TV and stuff like that. But on the square side of things when it comes to college, I like West Virginia at home 2.5 over Kansas. I like Utah over Oklahoma State. And then Oklahoma +7 at home to Tennessee. I know Tennessee's been putting up a ton of points, but Oklahoma can as well. And I think at home they can at least try to get at least the backdoor cover in a worst case scenario. But I like Oklahoma +7.
All righty. Thank you, Sammy. Donnie, over to you. How was your weekend in college football, and what do you got this upcoming weekend
Pretty
for us?
decent last Saturday. Messed around. I don't bet as much in college football, certainly, as I do in the NFL, but there are two spots I like to look at this weekend, one at 12 o'clock and one at 3:30 Eastern. The game I call for Florida. Get your coach fired if you lose this game, and the coach understands that, yes, he's going to have a nice little payout if he leaves, but nobody wants to get fired midseason. It's embarrassing. They're taking on Mississippi State, who is absolutely horrendous. And did you know that Toledo went in last week, a MAC team, into SEC territory on their home field and blew the doors off Mississippi State? That team stinks. This line was 4.5 early in the week. Now it's a bite 6 to 6.5, depending on your shopping at. I still think Florida takes care of business and pounds Mississippi State. Then the game at 3:30, USC and Michigan. We'll see what Michigan has. New quarterback change in Alex Orji. He's not really a great thrower, but is a great runner. The price point is too low, though, for the total. I understand USC's got a very good offense, should be able to move the football, good defense for Michigan, and maybe Michigan technically wants to slow it down. But in college, 44.5 as a total, they got to be going over that number. So I'll take Florida by a touchdown. I'm going to take USC Michigan over the 44.5.
All righty. Thank you, Donnie. And Sammy, let's jump into week number 3 in the NFL. What most people here, I'm sure, have been waiting for. Let's hear those confidence picks. Let's hear who you got and who you like this upcoming weekend.
Yeah, first off, let's talk about all the trap games there are in these lines. I think this week is really tough. If you're a volume bettor, good luck because, there's a ton. I mean, I'm just going to name a few of them. Detroit -2.5 on the road against Arizona. Arizona coming off a big, strong victory at home. Detroit at home loses to Tampa Bay, now going on the road, and their favorite. Baltimore 0-2 as a pick-em at the Cowboys. I know Dallas just got smoked at home to New Orleans, but Dallas is still at home. Baltimore's 0-2. I feel like Dallas should at least be -1.5 to -2. Houston 2-0, Vikings 2-0, Houston 2.5 on the road against the Vikings. Pittsburgh 2-0, Chargers 2-0. Pittsburgh less than the field goal favorite at home. Same with New Orleans, less than a field goal favorite at home to Philly. New Orleans has put up over 40 points 3 straight weeks if you're counting week 18 of last year. Philly with a pretty bad home loss last week. New Orleans maybe should be at least a field goal favorite. Indianapolis less than a field goal favorite at home against Chicago. Kansas City 3.5, over the hook number on Monday or on Sunday night against Atlanta. So there's a ton of trap games. I'm not taking all of them. I'm taking a couple of them, and then I'm taking the games that are outside in my mind, the trap games. I think Buffalo on Monday Night Football 5.5 home to Jacksonville is a great line. Jacksonville on the road 0-2, not really finding their identity. I did say preseason that I think Jacksonville is going to fall. That they had their time the last 4 to 5 years with Trevor Lawrence being at the peak. Now the other teams have gotten better, and Jacksonville's going to fall behind. So I think Buffalo should be rolling to go to 3-0 there. I do like Las Vegas -5.5 against Carolina. Andy Dalton coming in for Bryce Young that just got benched. Is Dalton that much better? Is Young that bad? I guess we're going to find out here, but I'm going to take Carolina's really bad, and I'm going to take Las Vegas. If Dalton, shows and they somehow cover in that game, then he's definitely going to solidify himself as the starter. I like Tampa Bay -6.5 home to Denver. Again, Denver's a really bad team. Tampa Bay, great road victory against Detroit. And the combination of Godwin and Mike Evans for the last how many years is strong. Godwin had like 9 catches last week. Mike Evans barely produced, and they still won that game. I like the New Orleans over Philly, one of those trap games I mentioned, but I do like New Orleans at home. Tough to stop that offense right now. So until someone stops them, let's keep that rolling. I do like the Chargers against Pittsburgh. I think overall just their offense is better than Pittsburgh's defense, and take them on the road. And how am I not going to take the Dallas at home Sunday Night Football against Baltimore? I know it's Sammy Squared, bet your teams, but I gotta in one of your bailout plays of the week. Starts with Sunday Night Football. Let's go, Dallas.
All righty, Sammy. Good luck with those, and thank you. Donnie, let's jump over to you. What do you got for the 7? What do you like this weekend?
Yeah, let's take a look at the first game I have up here. And again, subject to change here depending on what the actual numbers would be from 7-1. I do like the Indianapolis Colts at home taking on the Chicago Bears. Plain and simple, Chicago's the worst offense outside of Carolina this year in the NFL. Many of us didn't see that coming. Yes, they are a little bit banged up at wide receiver, but they've been absolutely putrid through 2 games. I think Indy bounces back at home. Jonathan Taylor can have a big game, and I do think Anthony Richardson will make enough plays at the quarterback position for them to win. And again, we're not covering 6.5. It's 1.5. So basically just win that football game. Also going to take the best defense in the NFL statistically right now in the Tennessee Titans to knock off Green Bay. There's a reason why they're favored in this game at -2.5. You saw last week Malik Willis, 12 of 14 from the pocket, operated very well, didn't have to score too many points, and maybe don't have to score a ton this weekend. But I'm going to take Tennessee at home, and that defense is going to be able to hold Green Bay down. It'll be a close game, but I think Tennessee can win that by a field goal. I'm also going to go against my Philadelphia Eagles and take New Orleans. What you're seeing from the Philadelphia Eagles, yes, they'll score some points. Yes, they'll move the football, but you're running into a buzzsaw that's going to be hot as all get out. The Eagles on a short week this week playing on Monday Night Football. Still no A.J. Brown, and that dome is going to be rocking. They'll beat the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm comfortable with laying the 2.5 points. I'm also going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers over the Chargers. Justin Herbert not practicing yet this week, questionable for game time, which means it would be Easton Stick at quarterback, which means I would be leaning towards Pittsburgh. Now, that could change. If Herbert comes back, we'll see that game a little bit closer. But right now, early in the week, I'm going to stick with Pittsburgh. Also, like Sammy has, Vegas Raiders. I don't care Andy Dalton starting. That team is dead in the water for the Carolina Panthers. So congratulations if the Panthers win this game outright or cover. I'm going against it. They've absolutely drew dead through 2 games, and I don't think they're going to wake up on the road against Vegas. Give me Vegas. Also, Detroit. Playing well to start the season, 1-1. They were 1-7 last week in the red zone, only scoring 1 touchdown. Convert some of those, you would have won that football game. You didn't. I look at Arizona, who was sensational last week and very competent week number 1 against the Buffalo Bills, but I'm going to lean on Detroit. Best offensive line in football. I'll lay the 2.5 points. Now I'm going to go against Sammy's Dallas Cowboys and take the Baltimore Ravens and lay it there in the primetime game at 4:25 this Sunday afternoon. Baltimore beats the Cowboys and drops them to 1-2. There you go.
All righty, thank you.
You're just doing that because you're going against Philly. So if Philly's 1-2,
I picked against Philly. I bet against my own team this week, though. Yeah.
So, makes sense. I get it.
A little bit of reverse psychology going on, Johnny.
Yeah, exactly.
If the Eagles got to lose, everybody might as well lose.
Exactly. We're not worried about the Giants in Washington. So
no,
they're good.
Not.
All righty. Well, thank you both, guys. Best of luck this upcoming weekend and this upcoming week with all your action, and we will see you guys on the forum.
See ya.
See ya.